So I'm going to teach you how to create forms. How to create forms. So, like I always do, before creating anything, I like making research about the thing. So, let's use Google. Let's use Google. So, we'll say image. Hmm, image of a login page. So, image of a login page. So, we are going to save this one and make use of it. So if you look at it, you will see that you have a heading at the top, which is login. You have a label called image. You have your input box. This enter text, enter email you see inside is a placeholder. Then you have another label called password. Then a placeholder called enter password. This line you are seeing around the input box is called a border. So you have a checkbox. You have one checkbox there. Then you have a sign in button. You have a sign in button. So you have a text here with some anchor, with some links, some anchor tags. So that is what we are going to work on. Some anchor tags. So we are going to work on something like this. So go straight to our we'll go straight to our what was it called? Visual Studio, and we'll say Control N. Then Control S to save. Then I'll call this login dot html. So after that, I'll bring out my live saver and I'll call this HTML. I'll just bring out the HTML5. So what do I do? First, when I want to design a form, you use the form tag to hold your entire elements together. So I'll start with the form tag. I'll say form enter. So because I'm trying to create a form. So the next thing I'll do, I will the next thing I'll do, I'll start working on my form. We have H3 there, and they call this login. So we also have a label input box and password. We have a label there. So I would like to hold this together with one div label. So right inside the label, this is called email. So I can come within this place and put an input box here. So, okay, I won't do that. I won't do that. I won't do that. I'll just come below this place. I'll say inputs test. So that is the type test. You have to give it a name. You have to call this email. The type is not test, the type is email. Then you have to say this is required because you need an email. Email is very necessary. Then one thing you will also add is the placeholder. You say enter your email. So we now have that. So the next thing we'll do, in the place of 4, right inside the label, in the place of 4, you just type, in the place of 4, you just type the name. You just type the name that you use for the inputs. So this will bind them together. So next thing you do, you can decide to copy this and edit it, or you come here, you say label, you call it password, label for password. So you call this password. And you go right below it to insert your inputs. Inputs. Do we have password as input? Yes. Inputs, password. So you are done with that. You can say placeholder, which is the text that will be inside the input box. You call the placeholder, uh, call it enter password. So that when users see that input box, they will know that they are expected to enter a password. So what do we do next? Enter a password. So the next thing we have on that form, okay, this div I'll give it a class called input so that I can talk to it separately. Then I'll bring in another div that will hold the remaining write-offs. Okay, I still have my buttons to place under the input. So right after my password input, I will bring in my button. So type is submit. It's a submit button. So the text that will be written on it, sign in, sign in. So we are done with that. Then we'll go straight to the other items, which is the last section. We have forget username and password. Forget username and password. And we also have a sign up there. So just say you can't call that paragraph. Okay, but what do I call it? I can use paragraph. So I'll just say forgot, forgot. I need an anchor tag. I need a blank anchor tag. No, let me say just an anchor tag. Then I'll call this anchor tag, I'll call it username slash password. So I can copy this and edit the last part. And edit the last part. Don't have an account. You can copy this and edit the last part. Don't have an account. Sign up. Don't have an account. Sign up. Is it in uppercase? Sign up. So that's that. So the next we'll do, we'll go, can I give this form a class? Class form. The next thing we'll do, we'll create a CSS file for this. So Control N, that's new file, new page. Then Control X, Control S. Control N, then Control S. You save with style. You save as style. Let me use S because I have another style already here. Or let me say style2.css. So I will come back to the login page right inside my head, I will link my CSS to my page so that I can talk to the HTML while running the CSS. Who is calling? So what do? I'll say style2.css because it is in the same folder with my file. So when I go to my style2.css, asterisk means I'm talking to the entire page. I'll say margin none, margin 0, padding 0 pixel, which means I want to format the whole document entirely. So the next thing I'll do, I will say I can decide to give my HTML form a size. Okay, but first I'll talk to my body. Body, background color. I think that is a dark blue, but I will work on the dark blue. I'm not so good with color, but this shouldn't be difficult. So, so I think we are close. So that's for the body. Right in the body, I will say display, flex, direction, doesn't matter. Okay. So I will say justify content, center. So I'll say align items, center. So um, align, is it align content? That's not it. Justify content, center. Align items, center. Okay. So since this is difficult, it's very simple. I can ask Google the CSS code to centralize all the items in my body. So display flex direction column, justify content center, alignment item center. So what was the problem? Or maybe justify content center, align item center. Okay, let me say width 100%. Is that the problem? 100 VH. Is it VH or UH? Let me say something. Okay. So display flex, justify content. Here's my background. Display flex, justify content, align item center. Okay. Flex direction, columns, minimum height, 100 VH, and margin 0. Okay. So we can work with that. Then the next thing we'll talk to the form. So let me take this out. We'll talk to the form. We'll say dot form. We'll say display center, display flex direction. It should be column. So justify content. Justify content. Justify content center. Align items center. So, okay. So I'll talk to the inputs. Talk to the inputs. I think I can also say dot inputs right here. So, but for input, justify content. I need it to justify to the left, right? Left. Okay. Align items left. So one of these should do what I want. Okay. So that's it. So let me see. I'll put I'll give this form and input cannot be together, unfortunately. So Hmm. so I'll give this form a background color white. Okay. So padding 50 pixel. So border border radius 10 pixel. Okay. So what do we have there? Okay, border radius. So the next thing we'll talk to, we address the login, which is history. Login. I will use a paragraph so that I can personally give it a test height. So let me give it a class. Login head. So if I call it login head, then I can say dots login head. When you want to use a class in CSS, you say dots that class. Then when you want to use an ID, you say hash ID. So I'll say heading align item center. Align should justify. Okay, let me try to justify content center. Okay. Display as flex. Okay. So right inside the form, I need margins in between them. So I'll say margin I'll say margin button 20 pixel. Okay. So what I'll do, I'll talk to my inputs first. Margin button 20 pixel. Okay. So what do I do? If I want to talk to the inputs, just the inputs, I can say inputs. So, okay. So I can say height 7 pixel. The 7 pixel is small. 20 pixel, 20 pixel, 20 pixel. Is 20 pixel big enough? 30 pixel. Hmm? So 30 pixel. Um, Let me see. 30 pixel. So my login head, I'll make what's happening here. My login head, I'll make it border font size. Yes, font size. Let me say 24 pixel. So that's good. So I'll speak with my button, and I'll give it background color. Where is that background color? I'll give it this background color. Give it this background color. I will use this input height. I will say border. None. I don't want any border. So I don't want any border. So the sign in text. So color. When you want to address the color of a text, you use color. Say white. And the font size is small. Font size, let's say 10 pixel. Okay, so we are going to increase inputs. Let me talk to the border color. Border color. I need gray. Gray. So I'll work on the gray and make it faint. So what else do we have? Okay, wait, let me take this out. Let me just say border, gray. Hmm? I'm trying to strong. Can I have something like border thickness or border width? Let me see. So we don't have that. So, but we have border style here. Border style. What do I have in border style? Groove, hidden, dash, dotted, double. That's not what I want. So let me just use a light solid. Hmm? So what else do we have? Let's make our border bigger. So the inputs, this one is 50, 50. So width 300 pixel. 300 pixel. So let's use 14. Okay. So the next thing, I will talk to the remaining text that is right below here. I'll talk to the text. I'll say, I'll talk to the text. I'll say, okay, let me give it a class. Yeah. Let me give it a class. So I'll call it, I'll call it forgets. So I can just say dot forget display as flex direction column justify content center align items center. So we have been able to place them in the center. Now we have to work on its anchor tags, all the anchor tags. So A text decoration none. So color we know what the color is. That's the color. So we have an issue here. This item and this one, the buttons, they are all supposed to align. So why are they not aligning? Let's check their dimensions. So button 300 pixel for the weight. So what's the dimension for the input? 300 pixel. So what could be the problem? What could be the problem? So input, input. So when I talk to dot input, I am not supposed to talk to this should not be here. This should not be here. So I'm just supposed to talk to the whole of let me see. So with 100%. So that solves it with 100% because Okay. So that's the correct CSS. So I don't even know how much time we still have.